But let's go down on the sideline to our reporter, Adriana Sparks, who's got a look at the preseason prognostications for both of these teams.
Yes, thank you, Mitch. It is so exciting to be back, and I am especially excited to join you today because this matchup is really interesting. These teams had very different expectations coming into week one. And so let's take a quick look into that preseason poll to see how their respective coaches ranked each team. Over in the United Athletic Conference, the Utah Tech Trailblazers were slotted 9th in the preseason poll. However, over in the Big Sky, we actually have the Lumberjacks, who were picked to finish 4th, and they even cracked the FCS Top 25 after their season opener last week against ASU. But today, Mitch, rankings don't matter. Both of these teams are very hungry for their win.
But no true seniors on this team.
Right, and it's not to say that non-conference games aren't important. They absolutely are. But these are the kind of games where you can really test things out, see how things work, change rotations or game approach before you face those in-conference rivals, which are really such pivotal games, especially if you're in the Big 12.
That time, Knopf hammers it home.
Yeah, the Lumberjacks have been able to keep her kind of at bay in some ways, but, you know, somebody as dominant as Addie Knopf, especially with the breakout weekend that she had against Duke, 14 kills, you really just have to know that she's going to be able to make plays.
Yeah, she had double digits.
And on the other side of the net, one of the keys to the game for Texas Tech was going to be clean volleyball. Coach Greystone mentioned some minor mistakes, some sloppiness against Southern Utah just earlier today, and he was certainly wanting to eliminate that before they head into conference play. But again, it's just those self-inflicted wounds that you don't typically anticipate from teams like this. Hannah Stoddard leads the Lumberjacks with kills. She's got 18, but right behind her, Sophia Wadsworth with 9, and we're really going to have to see who's going to come out on top here after this timeout, which is so pivotal. Texas Tech leading only by 2. Mind you, you need 2 to win the set, so it's not over.
Knotted up at 24.
That is just poetic to have Hannah Stoddard make that kill there. That's going to be her 19th on the night, and that's going to put NAU right back on the mark with Texas Tech University. They're tied at 24. It is getting hot up here in Roll Activity Center. Fans are on their feet. They are loud, and these Lumberjacks are looking hungry for this win.
Here's Barlow.
Adriana, did you see what happened this weekend with the Jacks football team?
I certainly did. On Saturday, the Lumberjacks fell 45-24 against the UC Davis Aggies.
This is also their second consecutive Big Sky Conference loss. Adriana, take us through some of those highlights.
No worries, Jess. The Lumberjacks actually began the game strong. The Jacks defense was able to hold the Aggies to a field goal on their first drive and only 10 points at the half. Quarterback Ty Pennington connected with wide receiver Colby Katzis in the end zone to keep the Lumberjacks competitive, and they went into the half only down by 3. But the Aggies won the battle in the locker room. The Aggies scored 2 touchdowns in their first 8 plays coming out of the half. First, a 59-yard run from Jordan Fisher put UC Davis up by 10 points. And then another 50-yard play, this time from freshman running back Carter Vargas, gave the Aggies another 2-score lead. But the Jacks kept it competitive. Trailing 31-17, Colby Katzis gave the Jacks offense a spark with a 46-yard kickoff return, which set the Jacks up to drive to the red zone and gave Karan Gossett his second touchdown of the night. But after UC Davis recovered an NAU fumble, the Aggies made them pay. Aggies quarterback Caden Pinnock finished a career-high 348 yards in the air and 5 touchdown passes, completing 25 out of 29 passes and converting 8 out of 11 third downs, which was altogether too much for the Lumberjack defense. The Lumberjacks are enjoying a bye week this week, but they're looking to bounce back in the Big Sky next week when they travel to Pocatello, Idaho to take on the Idaho State Bengals.
You know, I do remember
after securing an FCS playoff spot last year, this season came to an unfortunate early end for the Lumberjacks. They rounded out the regular season 7-5 overall and just 500 in conference play at 4-4. Now, while back-to-back winning seasons isn't something to be disappointed about, Jess, we know that head coach Brian Wright has very high expectations for this team.
He certainly did, and he had his eyes set on 2 rings this season. And with that determination...
Now, Coach Wright is correct. The Jacks have done a lot of great things this season, Jess, including sending 4 players to the Big Sky All-Conference first team. And you might be able to guess who, because you would have heard their names all season, but Travis Arena, Quentin Moten, and Ben DeQuilla were all voted in by head coaches around the league. Most notably, though, Colby Katzis was selected as both a first-team wide receiver and kick returner.
Katzis certainly made his mark this.
And that's not even the complete clip. That rally, like you said, Jess, went to a full minute. And it's not really that often that you see a rally go that long, but it's no surprise. But get this, Jess, just a few weeks ago, against the same Idaho State team, the Jacks battled to a historic 44-42 set victory. So it will be very interesting to see how these two teams battle it out next season.
I would have loved to see the Lumberjacks, but they took a loss last night against the South Dakota State Jackrabbits. Adriana, take us through some of those highlights.
It was certainly an eventful game. After NAU jumped out to a 14-8 lead behind two early threes from Arnie Osoynik and a transition dunk from Zach Davidson, the Jackrabbits responded with a massive 20-3 run to flip the game on its head. NAU fought back in the second half, cutting a 15-point deficit down to 4, thanks to an 11-0 burst sparked by Chris Coman and capped by Carl Poom from deep. But SDSU's toughness on the glass was what really made the difference. 12 offensive rebounds, leading to a 14 second chance points, including a huge and one, and a corner three that pushed the lead back to double digits, this time for good. Osoynik led NAU with 16, Davidson added 11, but the comeback fell short as South Dakota State ended the Jacks' home streak with a win of 75-62. The men's team is currently 4-3 overall, and they're looking to have a little bit more success before heading into Big Sky play in just a few weeks. Head coach Shane Burkhar says although they did have some success against the Jackrabbits, he was hoping to see some more. The Rutgers Scarlet Knights are making an impact off the field, just days ahead of the 35th Annual Rape Bowl, partnering with Southwest Human Development to help build little libraries. This is a meaningful way to promote literacy and give back to the greater Phoenix community. Over the last 14 years, Fiesta Bowl Charities has donated over $32 million directly into Arizona communities, upholding the organization's 3 pillars: youth, sports, and education. This year, they focused on literacy. Jake Adams, Chief Development Officer at Southwest Human Development, says that Fiesta Bowl Charities has been instrumental to the program's success.
For many, many years, they've given us grants throughout the years and have supported Southwest Human Development and our literacy programs to help so many kids get access to books.
This year, the Scarlet Knights joined in on a unique and interactive experience to promote childhood literacy.
Today we worked on our Reading Buddies, which is these little stuffed animals that we have the players stuffed full of stuffing. They fill out a little passport, a birth certificate, they name the animal, and then they decorate a bag with the environment that animal might live in. We give that to kids in our early literacy programs.
The players also built tiny libraries to promote free and accessible children's books to the Phoenix area. Offensive lineman Gus Zelinskis says that this was an opportunity to give back to the city that has been so hospitable to his team.
It's really special to come out here and to be able to get, to know some of the kids. Obviously, the Phoenix area has been very welcoming to my team. And so, to be able to come out and see some of the local community and give back to the community, it's really special.
Finally, players read the books aloud to local children. For defensive lineman DJ Allen, this was not only a chance to foster positive attitudes towards literacy, but an opportunity to encourage the next generation of learners.
I'm really happy that I'm able to come out here and talk to these kids and inspire them, give them little words of encouragement and stuff like that.
Adriana Sparks, NAZ Sports. Hiking is one of the best ways to interact with nature, especially in Arizona. But of Sedona's many scenic wonders, Volte Arch is one of the most unique. The hike to Volte Arch begins at the Sterling Pass trailhead, which is along Highway 89A, and you'll find pines, oaks, maples, and manzanitas before trailing up a steep switchback to a view of the rock formation called the Chieftain, and you'll enjoy incredible views along the way. Many local indigenous tribes believe the area to be sacred. The Hopi and the Yavapai believe that the Red Rocks have spiritual healing powers where Earth's energetic meridians cross. It's certainly a unique feeling of solace and tranquility along the Sterling Canyon. Whether that's due to spiritual energy or the haunting history of the trail is hard to determine. The arch is named in memory of Gerard Volte, a promising aviation engineer and entrepreneur. In January 1939, Volte and his wife Sylvia were on the final leg of a flight from Winslow, Arizona to their home in California when they were caught in a blizzard. Volti, who was flying without radio apparatus, was unable to find his way out. The young couple tragically died in a plane crash just a few hundred feet from the canyon brink. With 7 miles round trip and over 1,000 feet of elevation gain, hikers have plenty of time to honor Jerry's memory and enjoy the sights and sounds of Sedona. Adriana Sparks, NAZ Sports.